Eyes go blind in a million sockets. This life's unkind and she's killing the softest. Can't sleep at night cause her voices are talking about something I wrote. I'm clutching my throat, gasping for air. I won't choke, I can't bleed, I can't die, I won't scream if I lose everything. Don't follow the flesh, approval, decrypt a bloody knuckle till I break out the sarcophagus. This terror wears in knots. Our courage never enough. Your water from my well, I'm purified. Burning on my brain, each chemical. Never been afraid, I'm terrified now. As the fear as an antidote. Gotta raise my blade up, gotta raise a break, break, break through the fetters and the chains. I see my mind's eye blind to the grace. Take, take what they never give away. I find the peace at the price of the pain.
And we are live. Hi, all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition of the Bro, your biconic review of Honor for Ring of Honor the week of, well, on the day of Thursday, September 5th, 2024. I am one of your hosts leading this cavalcade of professional wrestling reviewers, Mikey. And then joining me this evening is first and foremost, we have Dean Ambrose in the building, Jesse himself. Welcome back from a 2-week hiatus. Happy to have you back, my friend. We've missed you.
Just 1 week. I just missed last week. I was here before.
Oh, yeah. Time is an enigma, and it blurs together from some
of us.
It
doesn't matter. Do not let time be the boss of you.
Fine, boss, you have no control over me, but I am happy to have you. We did miss you last week, but I am happy to have you back this week. So thank you for being here. And then, of course, coming to the stage, voila, here is our third co-host who's had a crazy last 45 minutes of life, but Mr. JVL, John Van Vicious himself, is here. Why are we still in Texas, JVL? That is a question we're going to try to answer today. But JVL, happy to have you here, my friend.
Do you want me to get you one of those special combs?
Yeah, it's not lice, but it definitely the fleas are bad. Let's just put it that way. And no, I did not have them in my house. Somebody brought them into my house. So yay.
You had the drummer show up to your house? Like, how'd that happen? How'd you manage to get Flea to your house?
He's a bassist, but it's okay.
That's fine.
I'm doing all right. I'm glad I could make it sort of in time. Please also excuse my dinner is on its way somewhere. It's over there. It's going to be coming soon. So, oh God, it's been a day. But I'm glad to be here with you. So, Mikey, what are we doing here?
Texas still.
Yes, we're still in Texas. So that's a question we're going to answer. But
Except when we're not, because there's some stuff from Cardiff that's in there, and you can tell.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh my gosh. ROH needs a better job of trying to hide all this, but we are here to attempt to review episode 80 of Ring of Honor, which took place, well, it aired last night, Thursday, September 5th, 2024. So yeah, that's what we're here to try to do.
This was a long one, guys. I don't know about you. Like this
2 hours.
Took long. Yeah. And I sent this in a text beforehand. We talked last week about the fact that it was like the end of the year clip show from the Texas residency. And there was a lot of just like off-cut matches that made no sense in terms of storyline or why they were there. And I thought, okay, we're going to be done with Texas now. Like you've obviously shown there's nothing else left from this run that we needed. And then we get to this and I'm like, 90% of the show was still in Arlington. They kept talking about the fact they were still in Arlington. And I'm like, why didn't you use this last week to make sense of things? What is this editing?
Continuity does not matter. We know that.
They control the continuity. They can make it matter.
They don't know what it means.
I made the mistake.
El Jefe just shaking his head derisively. He gets it.
I made the mistake of watching this. I was like, I have 2 wrestling shows to watch. I got time. Let's go back to back with these. That was a horrible mistake.
I agree. But we had a panoply of matches on this one.
What?
Styles, a panoply. Look it up.
I like that. I'm going to use that word.
We had different styles. We had pairings that made no sense. We had pairings that made total sense. We had Lance Archer being very delicately used in a match, and it was actually better because he wasn't in it. We had so many things on this one, and some really frustrating, outcomes as well. But my big question for both of you before we get into this, a lot of what was set up in between the matches seemed to be hinting at storylines or hinting at some like future plans. Do you feel like these have a chance to flower and grow again in the fact that we're going to be taping these in batch soon somewhere else? Or how do you think any of these are going to just be left to the wayside? And I'm specifically talking about EJ and Duca and also the Lady Frost stuff. Like, do we think any of this is going to carry on?
Half of that I hope so. The other half I don't. I will let you decide which. I think sure we can talk more about it as we get to those specific promos. I like the idea that they're flirting with storylines, but I'd like them to commit. If they need a ring, okay, I'll give you one. I'll buy you one. But just commit to some storyline, please.
The resident writer in the room, Mikey, what are you thinking?
I mean, we're hinting at stuff, which is great and everything, but the problem is that if this was the show that we got right after Death Before Dishonor, I'd be like, okay, cool. Yeah, fantastic. You know what? We're starting anew. It has been weeks since Death Before Dishonor, and we kind of just been flubbing around all over the place. And so now you want to start getting stuff. I was like, okay, now that Fish and Chips Mania is done, like
Chips Mania.
Over in London. I got you on that one, Mikey. My thing about this is that since it wasn't taping in Arlington directly after Death Before Dishonor, for all of these folks in real time, it hasn't been that long since Death Before Dishonor. So all that was going on. We were in D&D time for this, which is like you've progressed 2 hours in a night, but we've gone 2 months in real time. Oh, it hurts me because they're not using it to its full potential. And they said this whole thing about the residency was going to be, they were going to be able to get back on track, figure things out, and make things work. And they've learned nothing from their time.
Spoiler alert, they did not.
Did they say make things work or make things worse?
Exactly.
Maybe we misunderstood them.
They didn't enunciate well when they said it out loud. We start our evening, though, with something I didn't realize, that Aaron Solo versus Rocky Romero, Asuka, and I didn't realize that Rocky had trained Aaron, and so this is a trainee versus teacher match, and they had a banger. They went back and forth really well. I love this. I don't know about you two.
I thought this was a smart decision to open up with this match for sure. Of course, I'm biased as all hell because I'm a big fan of Rocky Asuka Romero. And of course, I get to see him more often as somebody who watches all the AEW programming and the CMLL programming. So
And
Rocky,
occasionally Japanese.
and New Japan as well. So Rocky's all over the place. I thought this was a really fun match. I think this was a really fun opener. This definitely was like, you know what? If this is what we're getting for the rest of the night, I could be behind this episode. You know what? This is starting off with a fun one. And we'll see if that changes as we review the rest of the show.
Don't be cagey about that. It changed.
It definitely changed. It definitely changed. There was no Brian Cage, though, so it made me more upset. But anyways, I thought this was a really fun opener match. I never get tired of watching, Rocky wrestle. I really love Aaron Solo because, he's been bouncing from faction to place to place. I'm like, let's just make Aaron Solo a staple in ROH. Like, I'm here for it.
Star.
Yes, like, I'm here for it. I thought this match was fun, and we'll talk a little bit more about Mr. Romero's, declaration at the end of the match before he walks off the ramp, because I am intrigued and kind of excited.
Jesse, did you enjoy Ian's little line there about fight 2 ever, now 3 ever? Oh, it wasn't 4 ever.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about that. It felt a little forced. That being said, around the match itself, I really enjoyed this. I'm not happy to see Aaron Solo keep losing because I think he's just incredibly talented, like him to get a win. That being said, this was a great way to open the show. I was behind this match, and to me, it felt like they were threading the story as to why they were having a match, the mentor-mentee thing, which I get, but I feel like it didn't need it. This, to me, came off as they wanted a match in there, a wrestling for the sake of wrestling. And sometimes I really enjoy that, and this is one of those moments.
Definitely. And as Mikey alluded to, as Rocky's going up the ramp, he is basically calling out for a championship. He is ready to go. Mikey, do you think he's going to have any chance to even get into that picture at this point, or is this just kind of like wishful thinking?
I mean,
Mikey,
the funny thing is I do believe that Rocky actually could possibly say what now? Say who? Say
You're buffering.
Say who?
Sorry.
Anyways, stupid internet. Oh, party. Love that. Anyways, long story short, the idea of Rocky Romero going after the Pure Championship has me excited. And the fact if we get a match between Rocky and Lee Moriarty, I am here for it. So I could see it.
Make the Pure division happen. Just like make the women's division happen. Lady Frost got her promo in, and she was talking about why she's been gone. This was amazing. I was so happy to hear reasoning by, like, I've been doing other things, and I actually have a win against you, so I should probably be in the title picture against the new champion. And look, we want to have our champion who's been off TV because of the continuity of the editing for the last couple of weeks is finally back. Everyone excited to see Lady Frost back with us?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She got different makeup, which is, I was like, oh, that added a little bit of more dimension to her character. I enjoyed that.
I loved it. I was so happy that she was back this week.
I was excited for this match tonight, and unfortunately, we had to wait a little while to get there. Hey, look, isn't that Nick Comoroto, who basically went in for hip surgery last week, fighting somebody that we thought was good? Andrew leaves, and we get Lee Johnson back. Andrew, you need to come back.
That was not a fair trade.
No, I'm sorry.
You know how I just said sometimes it's good to have a match or a wrestling match just for the sake of wrestling?
Yeah,
and I enjoyed it. This was not that case. This was for the sake of a wrestling match, and I did not enjoy it.
No, and Lee Johnson looked like he took a little too much time off. He was having trouble working with Nick there, and Nick
was having trouble working with Nick, who is arguably one of the safer workers in ROH.
He was really struggling with that. And again, I thought, oh, he's been away a while. Maybe I'll miss him. I didn't. Shocker. And I don't know what we're doing with Jacoby Watts and Nick Camarado because we're trying to get them to be this.
Neither does ROH.
And they're losing.
I disagree. They know exactly what they're doing with Jacoby Watts. They are turning him into Mark Sterling. Look at his suit.
No, we don't need to.
Listen, one smart mark is bad enough. We don't need two of them running around in ROH. They
can start their own law firm, Smart Mark and Sterling Silver.
Nah, we're good with all of that. The match itself was fine. Poor Nick. He always is consistently losing. And again, we still have not done anything with Lee Johnson's character or their lack of, so to speak. The most exciting.
I mean, come on. We have EJ and Duca coming down to save him from the beatdown. So
yeah, I'm not crazy about that pairing because
I want to give it
going to get lost in the Charisma black hole.
I want to no. See, here's the thing: when the term we
say no to me, how dare you?
I can and I will. That's what happens when you miss a week, boy. No, just kidding.
Well, what happens if I miss 2?
You're fired. I'm just kidding.
You're
not going to be here the next 3 weeks.
Fine, be that way. No, but in all seriousness, I want to give it time between EJ and Lee to see what we can get. The problem is that Lee Johnson is like this the whole entire way through, has not gone up or down, and has settled into the middle path, which in wrestling to me as a character is the worst place to be because you're not horrible, but you're not being outstanding either. You are just being very Rite Aid vanilla, and that's Rite Aid vanilla ice cream is better than what we're getting from Lee Johnson. And what sucks is that I see potential in EJ. I like this whole moniker of the judge. If we do something fun with it, I think it could be really cool. But pairing him with Lee is not necessarily the best idea.
No, and
come on, stop being so nice. It's a bad idea.
I don't think it's a bad idea yet. I need to see where this goes, and then I will revisit my statement.
I disagree with you and we're going to jump ahead for this because we have a promo later on where Lee gets to talk for 2 seconds about why he was getting beat down and what does he think about EJ saving him. And EJ comes in, has an amazing promo, buries Lee Johnson unintentionally, and all I'm thinking in my head is are you trying to set this up to have a tag match between you and Shane Taylor Promotions? Because we need more Leon. Because, and I'm going to say this, okay, preface, I am a cis-presenting white man. I do not personally believe this, but Ring of Honor just wants to stick all of their black wrestlers in one match so they can get it out of the way.
That's not just Ring of Honor. That's just in wrestling in general. It's let's put all the black wrestlers as the one melanated person on this trio panel. I feel comfortable enough saying this, and if not, the internet can bite me and fight me. But it's the same. It's that trope, and it's not just black wrestlers. It's let's just get all the POC wrestlers into one faction. We get all the black wrestlers in one. If you look at another company, we literally have 2 factions where they're all Latinos and Latinas, and just Latin in general, and we're not doing anything with them. I can't believe I'm saying this, but your developmental brand in the big company is doing better establishing, not putting all the people of color in one faction.
Mikey, I don't know what you're talking about. I can't rattle off names like LWO, Legado del Fantasma, whatever Karrion Kross's group is, the Pride, the Hurt Business, Nation Dom. Wait a second, I better stop.
Yeah, no, you can the only person who is thriving that is not being thrown into a faction is our NXT women's champion, Roxanne Perez. She's the only one that has gotten out alive, but don't worry, she's not going to hold that title for long because Miss Julia is going to knock her block off, and I'm kind of here for it.
She's going to go up and join LWO. Anyways.
No!
Back to that before. We had AJ and Duca do the save. We had another promo backstage as Anthony Henry is not sure that beef is the way to go. He might be more of a pork person.
It's my favorite tag team right now in ROH, and I don't care.
He doesn't want beef in his hot dog. He doesn't want beef in his workhorseman. He wants JD back. And I honestly can't wait from this to when JD is better to see how he interacts with beef, because that's going to be the thing at this point. I think that should be fun.
So I feel like they could either go with the standard, okay, you tried to take my place and now we're going to feud, which I don't think would serve so well for Beef's character. but I want to see Beef and JD Drake just like click instantly, and then Anthony Henry becomes the third man.
It's like they weirdly get each other, and then Anthony Henry's in the middle, like, what the flip
Like
is
there's
happening?
there's a mutual husky respect there.
Yes. Big boys for life.
Those two, JD and Beef, being his heavies as he goes into the pure division.
Yes.
Pure beef. Anyway,
Pure beef.
We then jump to one of my favorite wrestlers out there and getting her some wins in a squash match. Rachel
Hadley Johnson.
No, we did not. Thank you. Rachel
you
Ellery
be
takes on Gigi Ray, and I keep forgetting, and unfortunately, because there's so few people there at ROH tapings, you can now hear it really loud. I love it when she yells "squish" when she does her senton.
Love
It's
it.
just so much fun to hear it.
Also,
And-
I don't know if it was in Texas or in Cardiff, but that one lady who kept screaming the whole entire episode, I'm like, you go, girl. That would be me supporting all the
Oh,
wrestlers.
she was having a good time.
That was Texas. You could tell it was Texas. When it transferred over to Britain was when you had a few more faces you hadn't done, and there was a female ring announcer.
That's
when they
awesome.
didn't have Bobby. That's when you knew the change was. But yes, Rachel beat Gigi quite quickly. She's racking up her wins again. She's going to be going after someone hopefully soon, although I don't know who it is yet, but because they haven't really set her up with an opponent yet. Abaddon's taking on Athena, and we've got, obviously, unless she's going for the TV title with Red Velvet, she hasn't announced that yet, but there's a couple of the people waiting in line to go do that, so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anything else to pull from the squash match we had?
It was a squash. I was happy to see Rachel Ellering. I know that she's kind of been in and out lately. I know she had that injury in her arm for a while, but she seems like she's back past 100%. So I'm happy to see her. Just wish they gave her more time.
Mm-hmm.
I love me some Rachel Ellering. That is all I have to say.
Now, we got the pairing we wanted. We wanted the beef all with the Henry twins, and they knew exactly what they were doing booking these two numbers. Because Jay Lucas and his teammate Teriyaki, beef teriyaki matchup is what we've been waiting to see on our plates for a while. You know what? The Jobbers put on a good show. Ian and Caprice were involved. I didn't hate this squash. I don't know about anybody else.
It was better than I expected. My expectations were low of this one.
Mikey, tell me you're into some teriyaki.
This is just for pure from a pure entertainment standpoint, this was my match of the night from an entertainment standpoint.
Okay.
Just tell me why. It's just fun, okay? I've been on a very nice little groove with all the things I've been reviewing the last couple of days and for this past weekend. It reminds me that wrestling should be fun, and this was fun. Were there stakes? No. Is this going to lead into tag feuds? Probably not, but I had a good time watching these two. Anthony Henry works very well as the straight man to Beef's just over dramatized, like, let's go, like, whoop, 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 you know it type of vibe, like very broski energy. And I love it. It's so fantastic. And yeah, JBL, you hit the nail on the head. They knew exactly what they were doing by putting Beef in a tag team match where one of his opponents was named Teriyaki. I loved it so much.
I think that we have a bovinity for Beef, and we love him very much. And
stop that.
It's going to be a fun way to. I want them to get into more tag matches with actual people now, so Beef can interact with wrestlers that are signed, because he seems to have an infectious way about him that gets everyone else really happy. So if he's going against a babyface tag team, he might get them dancing with him or something. It might just be a fun comedy way to get Anthony Henry farther over. Unlike what used to be a fun comedy tag team until Jack Jameson, basically shot them to hell. Iron Savages took on SAP. This could have been better. John Cruz did a great job up against Beefcake. I thought he and Beefcake worked really well together in terms of character work, especially with him climbing the top rope to do the collar elbow tie-up. I have to get on your level and be above you to do that. But my move with this one, the thing I'll remember from this was the key lock that Angelico put on Bronson at the end. That submission is nasty. I want to see that somewhere. I want to use that in 2K24 as my finisher. You forget how good Angelico is. Was this worthwhile watching Jack Jameson be a complete and utter dick to everybody else when you know the other two just want to be a babyface tag team?
I wanted this to be so much better than it was. I got excited about it when I saw it on the card. Ian and Caprice made me laugh when they called it the snakes versus the sausages. And then it didn't deliver. It was adequate. If it weren't for the beefcake and not John Cruz, it's not John Cruz, Serpentico spot, I don't know. It wouldn't have been as fun.
The biggest man in the match versus the fastest man in the match. Oh no!
I get very like it too.
I wanted to, because on paper this should have been really fun. I mean, we have SAP, you have Angelico just coming off, even though he didn't win, he's just coming off of being in the main event from last week's episode in that Pure Rules Championship match. And, you know, with Serpentico getting his mask back a couple weeks ago, too. So both of them are doing great. I'm happy they won. I just hate that it had to be at the expense of the Iron Savages, because these boys are just glorified enhancement jobbers.
So if I can interject here, I think it's only become that way because they are fighting what the crowd wants them to be. They are basically set up for a sing-song call and response with everything they do. And they're fighting it to be heels, which isn't working, which is blowing out every bit of charisma they have, so it doesn't make it fun. Let them be tweeners or let them be baby faces. Let them you can still job them out then, but when they're fun, when they're having fun and working from behind and beating up people, that's when it works, even if they lose a lot. Stop messing with them to try to have yourself have a heel tag team. You've got a hell of a lot of tag teams. It doesn't make sense to me.
No. It does not, and it's so frustrating for how talented they are and how over they are, even when they're playing heel.
All right. We're going to steam right along here. There's a lot to get to. This was set up earlier in the night. I thought this, honestly, could have probably been the main event of the evening. We had enough matches. We had enough setup. We had some good storylines weave through. It probably would have made it a decent episode. Lady Frost got her proving ground match, and the respect shown during it was wonderful. Like, I loved that these two were like, no, we don't hate each other. This isn't bad. We are fighting because you've earned a shot and I'm willing to defend and get you there. I was upset by the ending, because if anyone should go to a time limit win against Red Velvet, it should be Lady Frost. She has no baggage on her for that. And because there was respect there, that would make more sense. And between that and, oh my God, the back and forth rolling across the ring to throw Lady Frost into each corner, the gymnastic ability and the fighting ability of these two, like, please give them more time. Tell me, boys, why should have this been the main event tonight?
It should have been the main event, but they cut it so short, and I hated the ending, and I cannot overstate that enough. I hated the ending. It felt very abrupt, and it felt almost gimmicky, like, hey, we're out of time, wrap it up now. They keep doing for a lot of the women's matches. So I used to be this staunch champion of ROH for being the best place for women's wrestling. It's not anymore. I don't think the other feds are doing any better, but it's seriously, it's almost like they've forgotten about them.
I mean, they're throwing them to Mexico and into Japan, and they're forgetting they're down there and winning a bunch of stuff and coming back. So,
and coming back to lose.
Yeah, Mikey, talk to me. Red Velvet, one of your favorites. Lady Frost, one of your favorites.
I really enjoyed this match. I really, really did. And honestly, now if we're talking about in-ring ability and just overall, this still is probably my match of the night. I had a good time watching it, but for different reasons, because both of these women kill it in the ring. This was a fantastic bout. I'm not as upset about the ending, but I would be not as upset if I knew that we could have some follow-up, but ROH rarely does follow-up when it comes to these kinds of things. So it makes me a little bit sad. But overall, I really enjoyed this match. I thought both women looked strong. And this is what I need to see from Red, is now that she's our new champ and we've kind of pushed her away from Billy and Athena, since, you know, and Queen with all of that. Now she's able to kind of start her official chapter as the new ROH Women's Television Champion without all of, I don't want to say baggage, but everything that led up to her winning the title. Now let her go on a run of her own that's outside of Athena and Billy. So this was fantastic.
Should have been the main event. Should have been
absolutely.
regardless of the time, this still was one of my matches of the night. I think I had 2 on this card.
Which is humongous to say for anybody of us, because a lot of us have not had good matches we've loved on a lot of the last couple cards. So to have that is great. Is it gonna make me watch the whole episode? No. Do I have to find the highlights somewhere else on YouTube? Yes. But
Do I think they deserve more time? Oh yeah.
Oh hell yeah. I will say this for ROH: you didn't put one women's match on and then stick both of your champions doing a promo together back to back, which was the same segment like AEW did this week. God dang.
There were lots of crimes committed on Dynamite, which we'll talk about later.
But Taya Valkyrie cutting her promo why she attacked Mina. Lunge. Why she attacked Mina in the last week, and why she is the kind of like the gatekeeper for ROH, I guess, as she seems to be. And Mina comes in and is like, you want something? You don't get some of this. No one else gets it. She makes fun of her, kicks her out, and then just shakes it with it.
Be like, everybody wants Mina. This was stupid. I love this though. This was stupid in the best possible way. I don't care what nobody says. Anybody who is not used to Joshi wrestling, I was like, no, this totally makes sense for Mina to do this, because literally Joshi wrestling is provocative is not the word, but they are very comfortable, especially Joshi wrestlers are very comfortable with their sexuality.
They're
titillating all the senses. I had to pause because I was drinking water, and as soon as I saw Mina, everybody, do you want some of Mina? I'm just like, I love her so much. I'm happy she's here. I cannot wait. I would love for Mina to be a staple in ROH and also be one of the women who has. I don't know if it would be her, but I want her to be similar to Rocky Romero, where she could be the bridge to bring a lot of startup girls over into ROH and this company. Because shoot, like we said before, my favorite match so far this year at ROH was the 6-woman tag we got at Supercard of Honor. That was the Stardom Showcase. Like, I would love more. Yeah, I would love more Joshi wrestling in ROH, because we need to diversify ROH, because everybody's getting plucked and pulled.
Jesse, were you a fan of this?
I loved this. I love Mina Shirakawa for a multitude of reasons that I'm not going to out myself online for. But yes, I enjoyed this because it was silly in the best way.
It's like what Mina says. Everybody wants Mina.
Would you say a panoply of reasons? Anyway, Jesse, I want to say this to you because I know you were excited. Not for Lance Archer, but that the Righteous were on ROH. Yes, they were in a squash match against Lights Camera Faction, but they were used. And they seemed to have the majority of the offense. It wasn't the Lance Archer show. Did that make up for it in this for you, or was it still just kind of they're being used incorrectly?
It was better. It was one of their better squash matches they've had in a while, I'll say. And I think it's because they did limit Lance Archer. And I'm not trying to offend Lance Archer. It still doesn't feel like he kind of fits in that group, especially considering he comes out to his own theme music. Like, it's still very disjointed. I was very happy to see them. I knew they were going to win. I'm glad they got the win. I think my favorite part of this whole match wasn't any of the actual wrestling, but it's when they went to do the Code of Honor at the beginning, which we all forgot, by the way, for this review. Vincent gave him a hug instead.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was a stroke of brilliance there. I even actually sent him a message like, I love that. And he said, thanks. I appreciate it. And I was like, I got jealous because now I want a hug from Vincent. So he said, okay, well, whenever I do meet you, yeah.
Of course. And, that was a couple weeks ago, too. He probably forgot he did it. But I will say, hugging a wrestler, one of the highlights of my life. Thank you, Wardlow, for the best hug I've ever received. Anyhow.
You felt so small.
I did, for the first time in my life. This was a classic squash. Mikey, do we think that the Righteous and Lance Archer are going anywhere with this, or this is kind of just a filler match to get us through?
So I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to offend Jesse when I move or what I'm about to say. Like, well, I do agree.
I could just leave.
No, don't leave. You weren't here last week. We can't have you not be here again. Anyways,
I'm never going to leave, apparently.
Well, I mean, you could, but I would rather any of you not.
Andrew already will miss you.
Andrew already took that one position since he left us. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, I do agree with Jesse. I think this was a better squash match for the Righteous and Lance Archer. but I still don't care because we don't have a direction of where we're taking them. As bad as
That's not offensive to me.
Yeah, it was as bad as the multiple conflicting accents that was the Righteous and Stu Grayson when they were feuding with the Dark Order, like a year and a half ago, leading into their Fight Without Honor match.
Not long.
It's been that long, but that was better because as bad as those promos were, at least we had a direction. We don't even have promos. We don't even have direction for where we're going, not just for the Righteous, but for most of the people that consistently show up to ROH and want to be here. I need people to get it together backstage because it's ridiculous. So that's all I have to say. Love me the Righteous. Lance Archer, I don't hate him as much as most people do, but he's also suffering from not having a direction. And I don't even think he knows what his character is anymore since, getting concussion. I think he may have forgotten a couple of things.
They need to do something with them. Like these squash matches are great to get them, on the card. Great. Do something with them, please.
The thing is, I keep coming back with all these teams that are in limbo, walking around somewhere. Not that this would fix everything, but the fact that Dalton Castle isn't around to provide the fun aspect of this and to use them as substitute boys and certain things, he could bring these. Seeing him being beat up by somebody, he has no boys around him. Who does he call in? The crazy cult folks and Lance Archer.
That would be hilarious.
They don't dress like the boys, but
I still think the Iron Savages should turn on Jack Jameson and become the Iron Boys.
I would love that, but he's not
have
there.
Our own conglomeration with Here's what I would love. I would love our own conglomeration in ROH. We get Dalton Castle as the leader doing all these crazy promos. I need him and Mark Briscoe to have a crazy promo off. That would be amazing. But I need the Iron Savages and the Outrunners, and we can just have this big old 5-man faction, and I'm here for all of it. Also, Erica Lee gets to be a part of it too.
You want Dalton Castle to dress up like the leader with the giant green head and fully gamma irradiated, or just
sure, why not? You know what? He doesn't need to because he emits his own gamma radiation every time he comes up with peacock powers.
It's the love radiation.
I miss you, Dalton.
Dalton, we miss you very much.
We miss you deeply.
Someone we also missed who finally got back on our TV screens pretty quickly, and I'm pretty sure this was recorded probably not that long after that brutal match, was Diamante squashing Tiara James.
Her and her brother are killing it right now.
Oh my God. She looks no worse for wear from that entire match. She looked really, really good. And then having her squash Tiara James and then have Red Velvet come out to run her off. Okay, we know who's going after Red Velvet's title now. We know what's going up with that. I'm happy for this.
I'm here for it.
Jesse, what are you thinking here?
I was a little disappointed it was so quick. I mean, I'm glad we got to see Diamante. She looks like she's honestly in the best shape I've seen her ever wrestling, which is awesome. But that being said, I want to see how this plays out more. I'm not terribly familiar with Red Velvet aside from her time with Queen, and it seemed like Queen overshadowed her with that. I know Diamante can do well in a feud. They've done it, in the past. I've seen that. They've kind of established themselves. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. I'm excited for it, but I'm a reserved excited.
Let's hope it goes somewhere. That's all I can ask. And maybe a wild Layla Hirsch pops out of the way and runs her off. Who knows if Layla's okay, because she still has that located shoulder or elbow. I can't remember.
It was elbow.
I'm going to skip the promo that was next, though, because we already talked about it earlier on the night, because I want to get to Griff Garrison versus Cool Hand Ange.
This was a random matchup.
And you know what? I was happy to see Cool Hand Ange working, but when you lose to a boot to the face from someone that's not even in the match, I mean, was this a comedy match? Was this a non-comedy match? Was Maria going for... She seemed in a weird place when she came down the ramp with Griff. There was something going on. I couldn't tell what it was, but I enjoyed the work in the ring between these two. I think they have chemistry.
I was just glad to see Maria on TV because I didn't know she was there last week because I didn't catch last week's. But I know she's been struggling with some health issues, so I'm glad she's okay. Unless this was recorded before then, but...
It would probably be around the time when she just started coming back because these are about 2 weeks apart. So, just, At least on a normal consistent. At least that's how it was. All the tapings we had in Palm Springs when ROH and Collision came through my valley, we got them 2 weeks later. And Adolfo was nice enough to be able to sit through that review, and so did Mama Laguilos. That was fun. By the way, she will find her way to back on here at some capacity. So here's hoping.
I'll know not to get on again because I wasn't here last time for her. I'm not allowed to be.
None of you were. Anyway. I feel like I'm one of the few people that likes Cool Hand Ange, but that's because I like 2.0. I love him and Daddy Magic. In personal life, I am super happy that Cool Hand and Ruby, are, about to be parents very soon. So I'm super excited for the couple.
I'm so happy. Is so far away from Jericho as he can be at this point.
Both of them, because Jesse mentioned the black hole earlier. I was just like, see, the Lee Johnson black hole is not as bad as the Jericho black hole. Lee Johnson, at least you could kind of get yourself out of, and you're going to be mildly okay. If you get stuck in the Chris Jericho black hole, you are never going to be the same again. And it's going to take
Then let's rename the Lee Johnson one's just we'll say a whirlpool where there's a pool, but you can escape it. The black hole, once you crest the event horizon, you're done.
You could just kiss everything goodbye. Just like I can kiss goodbye any amount of feeling that I have towards the premier athletes because I don't care about them. They
won a match.
I don't care. JBL, I don't care anymore. I don't. I really don't. See, if I just watch ROH, it wouldn't be bad. But most of the time they're losing here. They're losing on Dynamite. They're losing on Collision. They have become a joke. And I said it. They are a joke right now in this umbrella that is ROH and AEW. I don't care that they won a match. They won a match against the local talent. That's nothing. They are a joke. And Josh Woods had escaped it for a long time. But between the last 2 weeks, that is not the case anymore.
I don't know. I mean, yes and no. We'll talk about that when we get to Josh Woods' match. I'm skipping over this because there's nothing to pull from this match at all. There was no work, nothing else.
I don't care.
No. I enjoyed the next match.
Hell yeah, we did.
John Silver on his own taking on Fuego del Sol. You want fun workers who know their character, know how to play it up in the ring, and really work each other over. This was the match to watch.
Look at Stretch Armstrong running around the ring. Love John Silver so much.
Dark Order gets a win. John Silver gets a win.
No,
I was so excited.
Alex Reynolds looked damn good in that red polo.
Right? Yes, fashion queen.
I think I texted you guys while I was watching it. Like, now I want to see a mixed tag team with John Silver and Layla Hirsch.
Yes,
just because they're so strong.
It's okay. We can read. It's okay, Jesse. I understand.
I can't read.
I can't read.
Oh my god.
This was a lot of fun for me. Anytime I get to see John Silver in action, I'm super excited because we all know and I know how good of a wrestler he is. He's fantastic. Dark Order is fantastic when you allow them to do stuff.
Dark Order is good.
And, I have a lot of respect for Fuego del Sol, even more now, not just because he's been consistent on the ROH tapings, but the fact that I have been able to be privy enough to see him wrestle in other promotions. Like, damn, he's good. And I'm looking at the umbrella that is AEW. How did you manage to, and this is my one curse word of the episode, how did you manage to fuck that up? Like, how'd you mess that up?
Sammy Guevara. That's all I'll say. Anyway.
Damn.
No, it's true. There was either way. We go from that amazing match. I know it was a squash match. I know.
I don't care.
I know I am partial to this person. They are my favorite as Abaddon comes out to take on Rishi Chanel. And is Abaddon now calling her the moves in the ring?
I love it. It's so good. Okay, so I wonder if Abaddon is taking inspiration from just like horror and pop culture in general, because the way that they talked at the beginning doing the handshake, I was just like, okay, Beetlejuice, I see you. Mm-hmm. Literally, it's like, hey guys, let's do this. All right, let's do this. And just calling the moves and everything is so fantastic. I don't care that this is a squash match, but this is where my only problem with this is I know eventually we're gonna have Abaddon go up against Athena, and I'm excited for that match. But we need to start putting into the smaller pieces because it's been like 2-3 weeks since that last interaction that they had, and we have neither seen we've seen a lot of Abaddon and we've seen a little bit of Athena, but they're still passing ships in the night. So we need to start building the collision course because all right, we know that this is gonna happen. So when are y'all gonna put the trigger?
The biggest thing is that they've got to pull the trigger and get this done with before Halloween, because Abaddon is going to have their yearly one contractual match that they got to wrestle on the Halloween AEW Dynamite. So
AEW, Tony Khan, like if you wanted to appeal to all your fans, you should extend Abaddon's work rate, not just on Halloween, but have them wrestle during Dia de los Muertos too. That's 3 more days. You could have awesome wrestling.
They've already done that.
They fought listening when you said appeal to your fans, okay?
Anyways, Dia de los Muertos is better than Halloween. I said it. Moving on.
Oh no, I'm just gonna say they've already done that match. They had them fight Thunder Rosa a couple of years ago. So anyway,
that was also a great match, though.
Also a great match. I loved that. And then we got a replay of about a year and a half ago in the Pure Rules tournament. We had Josh Woods taking on Katsuyori Shibata, and Woods being managed by Mark Sterling. I've seen this match. It still was amazing, but I've seen this match.
Yes, it was a rerun, and I still hate that Shibata is using the claw as part of his finisher now. That needs to go away.
Yeah,
I'm not a
fan of that. It's the cheap Texas pop. It's almost like it feels like when early days WCW they get cheap heat by just talking down whatever was the local sports team. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. He's too talented for that move. I would have liked this match better without Mark Sterling. Shocker.
Same. Mark is just
he doesn't need to be there.
Mark is like a rash. He just needs to go away for a little bit.
You saying he's the herpes of ROH?
I would say he's more foot fungus than anything, but
toe jam.
Well, I mean, the amount of times he's had to put his foot in his mouth with his comments, but that's neither here nor there. Again,
I need to see more from these two in a different way. I want to see them actually wrestle and have another Pure Rules match. Josh has now lost to Shibata twice. He needs to beat Shibata to prove himself in that division, though.
We love us Josh Woods in this household. I want to see good things for him.
Then we got our main event. Honestly, I would have loved the TV title match more than this. I loved this match, but the other match was better. Taya Valkyrie taking on Mina Shirakawa, and Taya sold for Mina. She went overboard. This was beautiful. You want a good example of what women's wrestling with different styles of people that are really experienced in what they do? Go watch this match. See some real good pros that have been doing it for a while and understand how to tell a story.
This was my match of the night, and I'm so happy to have a women's match as the main event.
Mikey?
I already knew I was going to love this match. It has 2 of my favorite women right now. You have Taya Valkyrie, the consummate professional, who I feel like never gets enough credit like she deserves for how good she is in the ring. And then, of course, you have the new hot commodity right now in America, Mina Shirakawa. But for those of us that have followed Stardom and the rise and potential fall of Club Venus, which also includes some other wrestlers that are in, other promotions as well, I thought this was a fantastic match. I've heard, people complain that Mina's entrance is too long. I was like, you know nothing about Joshi wrestling. That was a like shorter version of what you're normally used to. Like
shorter than any Undertaker or Roman entrance.
And she didn't blow herself up like the Warrior.
That is also very true. No, but in Stardom, Mina would dance on the ramp, dance down the ramp, dance around the ring, jump in the crowd and dance with everybody, and then get in the ring and continue dancing. But the in-ring was fantastic. Taya Valkyrie, definitely props to you, Mama, for selling the hell out of Mina Shirakawa. Shibata is fantastic. I love her so much. And again, I know that we're mostly going to use her right now in the AEW universe. But hey, like I said, if you want to keep Mina here in ROH, I'm not going to complain.
Nobody's going to complain.
No.
Even me.
No. And exactly. I want to see Mina do more stuff in ROH. And again, be that first foundation in the bridge to bring more Stardom girls over, like we've been seeing. We have Momo Watanabe, who just faced Mercedes like literally last week. Let's get more of the Stardom girls over here. It's fantastic.
they need to try this experiment again because it did not go well with Atlantis Jr., but it could go well with Mina. There's more of a draw there.
And there's a tie that will have
I
folks
mean,
hopefully from AEW looking down toward ROH to see it, which would be fun. We've come to the end of it. It was a heck of a long episode, but we all got through it. There were some highs and some lows. I'm going to give you each a minute to give me your empanada rating and kind of give me a little like summary of what you thought. And we'll get to the end here because we're going to figure out, did we want to recommend this to somebody or did we not? So, Mikey, you are on the clock. 1 minute, empanada rating, and why you liked it.
I'm going to keep it really relatively short. I give this like a solid 6.5 out of 10 empanadas for me. I think it was definitely a lot better than last week. I would recommend some of this episode of ROH, definitely the Lady Frost and Red Velvet Proving Ground match. I would also recommend Taya versus Mina. And, you know, even though we still saw the match already, Josh versus Castiari was still very strong, even though it was a rerun. But as a whole, I would not recommend this episode because our frustration still lies with we don't know what we're doing with the tag division, lots of squash matches that don't need to be there. And had I not looked at my notes, I forgot that Aaron and Rocky opened up this and Rocky may be going after the Pure Championship. 2-hour episodes don't need to be this long if all you have is filler.
Very good. All right, Jesse.
Actually, I'm giving this one a 7. I've got the higher rating today, which is very rare for me. To me, there was a lot more good than there was bad. It showed some promise in some areas. Again, them kind of teasing that, hey, we might develop a story around this. And hopefully they get the feedback and go with it. I enjoyed more than I disliked. And a lot of the matches I did enjoy, I would recommend. I would recommend the ones Mike already talked about. I'd recommend the main event, of course. Even SAP versus the Iron Sausages, I would recommend. Just because it wasn't the greatest match for them, but there was those fun bits in there that show you the entertainment value in it.
Fire Jack Jameson. Anyway, I also would give
Jack
it
Jameson.
I'm giving it 6.5. All the stuff was already talked about. Give me more of Lady Frost on my TV screens. Let's get the women involved more. They seem to be able to carry this better than half the men on there. ROH, you've set a precedent. You're now into another set of tapings. Please actually watch what you're putting together and cobble a show together that makes sense. That's all I ask. Yes.
Yes, please.
Mikey, Dean, it's been a pleasure to be here with you. I'm so glad that we got to get together, and I'm not fully itchy from fleas to talk about ROH and talk about a decent week for once over the last month. This is probably the best one we've watched. So are we excited to watch next week? Maybe, maybe not. Are we going to do it anyways? We're contractually obligated, so yes. And we hope that you out there in BC WrestlePod Land will also become contractually obligated to watch this with us, or at least watch us on the week by subscribing, getting those alert bells, and figuring out how much you like our content here. For Mikey, for Dean, i.e. Jesse, and for myself, stay biconic, finish your story, and we'll see you in the next video.